guys, Jeannine here with another Scream related video for you. I'm going to be doing some fun Scream inspired content, all leading up to the release of Scream 6. I absolutely love this franchise. I'm excited for this new movie. So I just want to talk about Scream, all the films, all my thoughts on them. So keep a lookout on the channel for all kinds of fun Scream videos. Right now up on the channel, I have a video talking about some of my Scream 6 theories and another video kind of a who's who. When is the killer Billy? When is the killer Stu? And their motivations for each kill. So I did a little bit of a deep dive on that one. Those are up on the channel now that you can check out. But today I'm going to be getting into my favorite Easter eggs and things I noticed in the first Scream movie. I noticed something different in this film every time I watch it. So here are just some of the fun little Easter eggs that I picked up on. I'm probably not going to get everything. There are probably things maybe you noticed that I didn't, or things that I noticed, but you know, they just have been pointed out so much that I didn't feel like it was necessary to point out at this point. But if there are any Easter eggs that you know of that I didn't mention, or Easter eggs that you like, or things that you've noticed or picked up on, leave them in the comments below. But yes, I'm here with some of my favorite kind of little things I've noticed throughout this first Scream movie. So let's get into it. So as we know, the Scream films have several references to other horror movies. Particularly, I think the main ones that kind of get the most references are Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven's film, and Halloween just kind of sharing very similar elements to what Scream is doing in terms of a slasher. You know, your kind of focused final girl who's just the good girl that everybody likes, very likable character. People getting picked off one by one. A lot of Halloween, I think, was an inspiration for Scream in a lot of ways. So I think those two are probably the biggest ones that get the most horror movie references. So like I said, I probably won't get them all, but here are just some that I found to be really fun. So this one might be a little bit out there, but later after Casey is killed, we see her empty seat in class next to Sydney. Her empty seat is right next to the window, so I feel like the classroom is very much set up like Halloween, where we see Laurie kind of looking out the window, and her seat is in the back of the class in the corner next to the window. So I feel like where Casey's seat is placed is very much in the same kind of setup as Halloween. When Casey's parents come home to find the house in disarray, the dad does say, drive down to the Mackenzies to the mother. This is obviously a reference to Halloween when Laurie finds the kids and tells them to go down to the Mackenzies' house. This is also referenced in Halloween H2O, which I believe was produced by Kevin Williamson. And we have Jamie Lee Curtis saying a similar line, but now she's actually referencing Scream because she says, drive down to the Beckers, as Casey's last name is Becker. So just kind of layers to this line, but drive down to the Mackenzies, a clear nod to Laurie's plea to the children in the first Halloween movie.
Get in the car. Drive down to the Mackenzies.
I want you to go down the street to the Mackenzies' house. I want you to tell them to call the police.
I want you to drive down the street to the Beckers. It's a mile down the road. Tell them to call an ambulance and get the police.
Obviously, Billy makes a ton of horror movie references. The pig's blood in Carrie, the Psycho line. Obviously, with his surname, Billy Loomis, a nod to Sam Loomis and from Psycho, and Sam Loomis from Halloween. Linda Blair famously makes a cameo. I think that's a nod that people notice a lot. But something I noticed on another rewatch is that, you know, Linda Blair, she is the actress who was in The Exorcist. And if you look at her earrings, she's actually wearing crucifix cross earrings. That's something, after several watches, I barely noticed on a recent rewatch. So yeah, just another extra thing to add to this cameo of Linda Blair in this film. She's wearing crucifix cross earrings. just Some other things I noticed in watching this movie so many times, the scene where kind of Gail confronts Sydney about what she really saw when she thought she saw Cotton that night that her mother was killed. I think it plays into the fact that Billy and Cotton have very similar haircuts. It's something I kind of noticed when I saw the movie last year in the theater for the first time, that they have very similar haircuts. So I like that little kind of touch that, okay, let's make them have a similar kind of look so that, you know, we can kind of play that flashback in our head and have Sydney realize that, yeah, maybe she did actually see Billy and mistook him for Cotton because the hair is very similar. So if she saw him from a distance, they would look the same. So I like that little kind of attention to detail in terms of Billy and Cotton having similar hairstyles.
During the trial, you did all those stories about me. You called me a liar.
I think you falsely identified him, yes.
I saw him leave wearing it.
No, you saw someone leave wearing that coat. The same someone who planted it in Cotton's car, framing him.
No. Cotton murdered my mother.
You're not so sure anymore, are you? The killer's still on the loose, isn't he?
Come on, Sid.
Those murders are related.
So we do know the famous cameo of Wes Craven as Fred the janitor. But the janitor is actually kind of hinted at quite a few times by Tatum. Tatum, you know, she talks about how they're interviewing everyone, teachers, students, janitors. So that's kind of the first hint to the janitor being an important person. And then when, you know, Dewey is kind of snapping at her for kind of talking down to him in front of his superior, she says the janitor is your superior, which technically the janitor is his superior because he is the director. So I like that there were little nods to the janitor and the janitor actually being the very most important person, you know, the man making this movie.
I mean, they're interrogating the entire school, teachers, students, janitors. You think the school?
Come on.
Touch me.
He's my superior.
Janitor's your superior.
Damn little shits. What'd you call me? Huh? Not your friend.
Then, of course, we have Principal Himbry, who is played by the Fonz himself, Henry Winkler. And I think there are a couple little subtle nods to his role as the Fonz. So the Fonz famously doesn't usually comb his hair. He'll like go to comb it and then stop himself because it just looks so perfect. So I see it as kind of like a little bit of a twist on that, is that Principal Himbry actually does take the step to kind of comb through his hair. And when he opens his closet, we actually see a leather jacket inside. So just another nod to one of his most famous characters. Obviously, the Wes Carpenter one is a really fun kind of thing, especially since the biggest references are to Elm Street and Halloween. So kind of mixing up their two names and jamming them together, and also kind of just showing Tatum is not somebody who knows movies as well as some of our other characters. So that was kind of a fun thing. I think a lot of people, you know, have fun with that line. So I didn't want to not mention.
Chuck Feather said, you're starting to sound like some Wes Carpenter flick or something.
Then, of course, the Jamie turnaround. I think that's a favorite one of a lot of fans, with the kind of layers of that and just playing into what now would be called meta nature of this film. Jeannine Kennedy's character of Randy is watching Jamie Lee Curtis on the screen. He's pleading for Jamie to turn around as Ghostface is stalking behind him, and he is a Jamie. So the layers of him telling a Jamie to turn around when he is a Jamie who also needs to turn around. I think that's just a really fun kind of gag and a very fun layered meta moment in the movie.
Jamie, look behind you. Look behind
One of
you.
my favorite moments is Kenny being the long-suffering cameraman of Gail, but ending up having a really great, sweet, heroic moment in the movie. After he gets his throat slashed, he turns around and with his last final moments of life, he points a way out to Sydney. I love that, you know, he takes that time, those last moments, to show her, hey, there's a little opening there, you can get out that way. So even in his dying moments, he was trying to save Sydney and help her, and I love that. So R.I.P. Kenny, R.I.P. Then obviously another nod to Elm Street is Tatum's jersey. She's wearing the 10 jersey the day that the party's gonna happen, which I think is definitely a nod to Glenn, the Johnny Depp character from A Nightmare on Elm Street. The shirt that he's wearing is a 10 jersey, you know, that he's wearing the night he gets sucked into the bed. Also, I think him, a lot of people talk about the casting of Skeet Ulrich being a nod to his kind of looking a bit like Johnny Depp, and he sneaks into her window, as does Glenn in Elm Street. So very kind of similar things, again, referencing A Nightmare on Elm Street. So then we also get a fun little bit of casting with Tatum and Dewey's mom. She's not just played by anybody, she's played by Frances Lee McCain, who was the badass mom in Gremlins.
Honey, what was it? What's said? My dad? I don't think so.
Then another fun one that I don't think a lot of people maybe noticed is, you know, Randy makes the joke about finding the liver and the spleen and the organs in the mailbox. That same day as Sydney gets home from school, she takes a very tentative peek in her mailbox before heading into the house. So I feel like it's not just her checking the mail, because the way she kind of peeks in there, it definitely feels like she was a bit rattled by Randy's joke. So the first thing she does as she gets off the bus is very tentatively peek in her mailbox for organs.
Did you really put her liver in the mailbox? Because I heard that they found her liver in the mailbox next to her spleen and her pancreas.
Something I mentioned in my Who's Who video of When the Killer's Billy and When the Killer is Stu is that Stu seems to have a headbutting style in terms of when he does his attacks. There is the night when Sydney gets attacked, the killer headbutts Sydney. When Casey is getting attacked, she also gets headbutted, and she hits the killer in the face with the phone. So in those moments, I do believe the killer is Stu. So when Sydney is at the lockers talking to Tatum and Stu, we see Stu getting a mirror out of Tatum's locker and checking his forehead. So I think he's checking his forehead for bumps after all the headbutting. Of course, another Halloween nod is the Don't Fear the Reaper song playing when Billy comes to see Sydney in her room, and he comes through her window. It's the song that was playing on the radio when Annie and Lori are driving in Halloween, so another nod to Halloween. Also, just kind of the fact that it's a subdued kind of version. You might not realize right away what the song actually is, so it's kind of just this layer of disguise to the song, which I think relates to a layer of disguise to Billy himself.
Lori, Mr. Riddle is 87. He can still watch. It's probably all he can do.
Also, the Ghostface costume itself is called Father Death, so, you know, like the Grim Reaper, so I think the song also plays into the Ghostface costume itself. Then when Randy is going over the rules, we do get him talking about Stu kind of messing around and saying he'll be right back, and Randy kind of making the last remark, oh yeah, you know, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife. A bit of foreshadowing, because later we actually do see Stu in the kitchen with a knife.
Yeah, sure. I'll be right back! You see, you push the laws and you end up dead. Okay, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.
Give me the knife.
Oh. Give me the knife.
So those are just some of my fun and favorite Easter eggs from the first Scream movie, things that I noticed. And I probably will find more over more and more watches of this film. So yeah, thank you for checking out this video. Like I said, if there are any Easter eggs I missed or things that you noticed, leave them in the comments below. I would love to check that out. And thank you for checking out this video. Please put a like on it, share, subscribe, do all of the things, hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when I do post some more awesome Scream content. I'm just so excited for this film, obviously, and just want to hype up this franchise because it is my all-time favorite horror franchise. So thank you for joining me for some more Scream conversation, and I will see you in the next one.